So last night, I was up late. I'm a writer, I'm an artist, so those late hours are our prime time. That's when we get those downloads, etc. I got up. I said I couldn't sleep. And I said, I'm going to sit here, light an incense, and watch the latest episode of American Dad. Now, I'm down for a good conspiracy theory. However, I don't believe in coincidences. I'm highly spiritual. I don't believe in coincidences. I believe in synchronicities and alignments. So I'm watching the episode, and it was just so much going on in it. And let me tell you what I saw, okay? So the episode. So this is what I peeped. Now we all know the Simpsons have been known for dropping some gems, right? But this didn't come from the Simpsons. I watched American Dad, and the episode starts off with the party. A personal party, at the crib, at home. 4 family members, 3 friends. It's the fish, who is Klaus, which is their German pet, which used to be a person, but now is like trapped in a fish body. It's his birthday. And it started off with the music playing, da-da-da. You see it's a party, it's a personal party. And he's spazzing. He cutting up. He acting a donkey. He start off with the piñata. He going at the piñata. They ask, hey, we get a turn. He like, no, this is my thing. So he busts open the piñata, and all the candy hit the floor. The friends, family run up like, hey, Skittles, da-da-da, go get some. He pull out the chainsaw and turn that down like, nah, this is my candy. This is my, my thing. I'm going to connect these points to what I tie them into later. So after that, the family concerned, they say, hey, we worried about Klaus and his boys. Like, we worried about Klaus. He losing his boys. His boys ain't, he's selfish. He's selfish. I don't think he know how to share. So the whole episode is about sharing. Not only is the episode about sharing, the key things I pulled out, it was about music. It was about drugs. It was about sharing information, and it was so much. So yeah, and move on. And so yeah, he has 3 boys sitting in the back of the party. The family by him, they talking, they discussing. They say, look, Klaus messing it up. We playing this party for months. And, he Klaus, he doing Klaus. He messing it up. We worried about him losing his boys. So they say, let's move on to the cake. They go to the table for the cake. And she want to serve cake to everybody. Klaus say, what y'all got plates for? Ain't nobody eating this cake. This is my cake. This is my plate. First of all the candy was his. Chalk that up to the dice game. Y'all can tie that in later once y'all see it. Now the cake, the bread, the money, whatever. He said, no, put y'all plates down. I'm the only one eating. Then he pulled the blicky. The blicky attached to a string that raised him up to the table. And they're like, you can't eat all this cake by yourself. You're like, bet, watch. And then he get to eat the cake, gag and da-da-da. He pulled the gun. The gun raised him up to. So at that point, the homies get mad. They're like, man, we out of here. We out of here. So that part kind of wrapped up. Then it goes to the next scene, which I connected this part separate. Because like I said, it's like 3-something in the morning. I'm catching this. And at this point, I ain't really caught all the key. I'm cued into the episode. Like, it's coming off a little unique to me. But no, nothing really flagged just yet. So going through the episode, it's 2 stories in this episode. You got the family with Klaus, birthday party. And the other side story is the son and alien, right? And at first I was like, that ain't connected. But then when I laid down, I'm thinking about it. I watched this episode one time. It's a 20-minute episode. Never ran it back or anything. But when I went to lay down afterwards, I had so much. It was like a eureka moment. Everything replaying. I remembered the episode. So the second cut, they cut to, which is the alien and the sun, which I picked up when I was just laying there like, shit, this shit connected too. Their whole plot started off with music, and he was saying like all the best artists. He said he played the piano. The son asked him, damn, who was it? Something, you know, how long you been playing, da da da. He said, look, I've been playing for all this time, but look, my first recital coming up. He said, all great artists, they do better when they sober, not on drugs. So I need you, the homie, you know, to keep me straight. He said, oh, I got you. But as soon as he said, let's celebrate and pull out the ball. So he's still on tip about drugs and shit. So the whole episode, the whole storyline with those two is that he prepared for this recital he got. This concert, this music thing, this big event, and the son is on the alien head. What's his name? Steve, yeah, he on the alien head, like trying to keep him sober the whole time, and he taking him through all type of obstacles of trying to get drugs, and he blocked it every time. Until they got to the last part of their story, which was they made it to the recital. They were cuffed together. He got up there and started playing great. Steve in the audience. And he proud of him. He talking to in the chair next to him and realized it's the dope, the drug dealer. He been dodging the whole time. And he was like, I hope you're here as a friend. Da da da. He was like, yeah, I'm here as a friend, and I forgot the word he used, but pretty much saying like, yeah, I brought his piano in, the whole piano laced with every freaking drug you think of. So while he up there on stage, what does he do? High as hell. And then, so boom, Roger, the alien, he up there. First he played good, then he like took in every piece of drug that was tied into that piano and get the spazzing. He's spazzing. Wilding, get the beating his head on the piano. He bit off his arm, took off his own arm, turned into a big old bloody mess, da 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 da. And Steve jumped up, you know, he like, when that scene was over, the entire audience got up and started applauding. And Steve like, how can y'all like this? And he was like, and the dealer was like, not only is he my client, but everybody here in the audience my client too. When they pan to the audience, everybody got blood on their face and they just cheering for their wreck. And it ended with Roger fall on his back, blood everywhere. Got the audience, like I said, they applauded. I'm gonna tie it in a minute, okay? I'm just giving you the premise of the episode. This is a little choppy because I'm doing it in sections. But anyway, that scene was wild. And at first I thought it was irrelevant until, you know, it hit me later like, nah, what happened on stage with Roger, the drugs, and how that whole scene played out, the massacre or chaos on stage, everybody there was a witness to it. They all had blood on them. And the main dude who I tie into a certain heavyweight in this whole scenario was like, look, they my people, so you know they gonna go with it. All right? Okay, now let's jump back to the main part, which is the family, the fish. And I'm gonna tell y'all now, this is my perception. I may be wrong, but y'all dig into it and see if y'all pick up what I picked up too, because I'm gonna tell you who I could tie each one of these characters into a significant person in this Takeoff case. I'm talking about the actual, like where we at with it now, what's currently going on now. So to me, the fish, you know, he was the dude that was his birthday. It was the birthday party all this transpired at. So I'm gonna say that was Junior. Okay, so back to the scene with them. The family get together and they ain't feeling how Junior acting, right? The fish Junior, how he acting. So they like they sit down, they eat at a restaurant, and they trying to talk to him about sharing. You know how sharing's important, and Klaus. So one of the homies in the family like, hey, didn't you grow up with Sesame Street? Didn't they teach you about sharing? And Fish Junior, he like, no, you know, he German. He like, no, we had different shows, and you know, they she gonna be a little different, a little wild, whatever, especially in this satirical cartoon. So he was like, yeah, I had this one show I was into, and it grew to Stropping something. I can't remember the name of the episode, whatever, but it's centered around this. So they decided, the family side, hey, let's reenact his favorite show in the world with the sharing episode. And, try to teach him about sharing so he don't lose his homies. The whole thing, they concerned that his homies ain't feeling him and what he on and stuff. All right? Oh, wait a minute. This key too. Before they decided to reenact, they decided to go look up his childhood show and find that episode to play it for him. So when they get there, they all at the computer. They I looked it up. They all on the internet. And they find it, but that's the only video out of all the videos, episodes they get that is not downloadable, that they can't save, they can't share. It's the video that can't be found. So, message. It's about sharing again. Sharing. And the video that need to be shared to teach this lesson ain't out there. It can't be found. Just like the footage we're waiting on right now. But anyway, so that's when they decide to reenact it. So go ahead. They reenact it, get the costumes, all that stuff. They put on a little show for him. He come in and he loves it, right? He loves it. And when they done, by the end of it, he feel like he learned the lesson. He's like, oh, I understand why sharing. Now was some things that happened. So the episode, y'all, right? The episode I reacted. Before I get to the episode, because I know y'all like, what the fuck is she talking about to this point? How does this have anything to do with him? And it wasn't to this point where I really tied them. I was paying attention to the episode, but it wasn't to after this point where that the bell went off. And I said, hold up. Wait a minute. And then I thought back to everything I just saw, and that's how I was able to tie in. So let me tell you the characters in the puppet show. Puppet show is very important. It's all about puppet show. Klaus, the main dude running the show. These are his puppets. His puppets. So one of the characters is a big fucking hippo. Hippo to me is pet. Next one is a blob with two heads on it. Now, when you hear the backstory, they tell you about the two personalities of the head. It's dark and it's twisted, but that's the two-headed blob to me is both cams. After that character, there is a file cabinet. The file cabinet to me represents the system, the government, the law, the case, or all that of it. And then there's the worm. The worm to me was a snake, but it's a worm with a ball and chain attached to the tail end of it, right? And it's the smallest character out of all this. But the worm is supposed to be like the head of the family. The worm is the head of the family, right? And then, so we got, so we got, to me, Prince. We got two cams. We got Pat. And then we got the system. All right? So those who the puppets represent. Okay, I'm setting the stage now because I know y'all like, what the fuck is she talking about? So I gave you who I think the characters are in this. Now remember, the fish, whose birthday it is, fish, he's the one all this is for. They're trying to do it for, right? Because they're like, son ain't right. We got to get the homie together. He losing his boys, stuff on the part, da-da-da-da. So they put on the show. They reenacted the episode for him. He loved it. And then he did some little dark shit like, looked out the window. The second time he looked out the window in this episode where it was light and it looked very devious. And he was like, the show must go on. So next day, they wrapping up all the stuff. They're like, yeah, you learned the lesson. He's like, what's up? It's over? He's like, yeah, you learned the lesson from da-da-da. And, he feeling type of way. That's when he said the show must go on. After that, they go to sleep. They wake up the next morning all groggy. They've been drugged. Each one of those characters or the family members are now. So now everybody wake up, right? And they wake up. After they boxed up the puppet stuff the night before. They wake up and they're like, hey, what's going on? Members is the exact character. He done transformed them. They not puppets now. They the actual puppet characters from what Klaus Fish Jr. favorite show in the world was. He said this multiple times throughout the episode. His favorite show in the world was that Grudel and Hansen, whatever that shit was called. They're the actual characters. He done drugged them, took them to a CIA doctor who actually turned them into the actual puppets. He turned them into the puppets now. So when they wake up, not only do they notice they the puppets, their house that they're in, the living room, is a jail cell. Everything barred. They all in jail. So Fish Jr., after that, he slid in through the bars with a script. He threw a script at him and said, hey, look, the show goes on. They're going to play this script. So we got hippopotamus, to me it's Pat, double head thing, that's 2 cams. Then you got the file cabinet, which is the system. And then the snake/worm with the handcuff and ball and chain around his tip is head of the family. All right. So Klaus Fish Jr. slide in and say he got a script. Y'all stick to the script. Y'all sing. Y'all play this shit out. And that's the only way y'all gonna get through this, right? Okay. So boom. I know y'all still like, what is she talking about? How does this tie into what's going on? And at this point, I was intrigued by the episode, but hadn't tied it in until what comes next. So Fish Jr. got them in prison. They all in prison. They got to play this role. He got them acting out all the shit he want. After that, one of them was like, yo, we think this something deeper. Like, it's something else going on here, like, with him. It's something beyond this. And then come Fish Jr. out the shadows. He said, you're right. There's a traumatic experience. There's something tied in. There's a truth behind why I'm connected to Hansel and Gretel. I know that's not their name, but something like Strudel and something. And then he going to tell this story, y'all. He going to tell the story about when he was a kid, when he was younger, and he had his favorite show in the world. So as he goes in into telling the story of what happened to him in his favorite show, he said he was at the show. He was selected to meet them, like, on stage, backstage after the show. It go off into some weird shit, which happens many, many times in this episode, where they bring up a lot of suspect stuff, a lot of anal things and sexual things. But he goes on to say that he had a crush on a doublehead blog, right? One of the characters in there. And because he had this crush, he was aroused. And he goes on to say that he had a pointy pecker. And he goes to hug the one he has the crush on with his pointy pecker, and it pokes that person. That person falls off stage, hits a bucket of water in a cord, and gets electrocuted and dies. The next scene comes 2 of the other puppets that try to help the person, and they get electrocuted. So you're telling them, like, 3 of his favorite characters in the world, because he poked them with his pecker, they all died. It was one left, which was the head of the family, which was the snake worm with the handcuff and the ball and chain on him. They asked what happened to him. He said, oh, well, he survived it. Well, until later on that night, he went home and took himself out. Okay. So beyond that, he goes on to say, like, this is my favorite stuff and my favorite scene in the world, group, whatever, da-da-da-da. I'm the cause of the downfall. I'm all the reason for it. And then he's like, now that I got this off my chest, I feel good, because it was the snake worm father figure that was saying, hey, speak your truth. Say what you got to say, you'll feel better. And then he go on to tell the story, da-da-da. You find out that shit went down because of him. He said they replaced him with different puppets